Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Like even to this day, if you Google Down syndrome, especially like baby with Down syndrome, it gives you all the things that could go wrong, you know? And I just want to like flood that Google search with all the things that are right, and all the ways that even some of those flaws are actually the total opposite.
Her name is Rachael Lampa, and she is my guest on the Passion Meets Purpose podcast. Welcome, Rachael.
Thank you so much. It's so good to talk to you again.
It's great to talk with you. If you have missed Rachel's first episode, go back. You'll be able to see how she got her start in music. You'll be able to hear about incredible ways that her and her family are serving those in Nashville. It's a fantastic episode. And she's back for round 2 because I just recently watched a feature on her family on a YouTube channel called Made with Love. And it's really the story surrounding your son, Leo. Do you want to give a little backstory on Leo? And then I need to just do a deep dive with you on this documentary because I'm still thinking about it a week later. It's
Oh,
changing the way I walk through the world.
oh my gosh. That is awesome. That's all I could ever hope to accomplish while just raising my baby. It's like that's one feat, in itself. And if, you know, gosh, yeah, he is so powerful. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. So Leo is today he is 3 years old. It is his birthday today. Perfect timing. I managed to get him down for a nap and I've got his little what do you call it?
Baby monitor.
His baby monitor right here, but I think we're good. We're good. I timed it out perfect. So he was born 3 years ago. We found out very early on in our pregnancy that he had a very high chance of having Down syndrome. The blood test actually came back as high risk for Down syndrome, and even then, I knew like there were going to be a lot of ways that we were going to have to start looking at the world differently. Like you said, because even just those words risk felt not appropriate for welcoming a human into the world. And so, yeah, I found out about him early. I was actually in a rehearsal. I was singing background for Lauren Daigle at the time. I was filling in for a couple shows, and I got this call from my doctor, and I was like, "Oh, I think I'm about to find out the gender." I was all excited to answer the phone, and then he asked me to step out in the hallway, and so I just kind of stopped her. Actually, it was they sent me over to my real doctor, and she said, "I need you to to sit down and just listen for a second." And the way that it was all presented was with lots of caution, and you can tell it's a clumsy thing, like learning how to speak about and to this subject. People are, me included at the time, it's like still just unsure of like which words and which way and what order, and so immediately that's kind of, when we start having to kind of look inward and try to unlearn a lot of the stuff that we had already kind of locked in to our minds.
How
Up
was
until
it presented to you on the phone?
yeah, so it was basically your test came back and they kind of read it, verbatim of just 99% risk of having Down syndrome. Um, and with that comes other risks. And then the last thing was we want to set you up as soon as possible with a high risk doctor so that you can discuss your options.
And it was pretty shortly after that that you called your mom. And this was one of the moments where when you shared your mom's reaction, I cried.
Oh, yeah, I did too. Um, it was like the the first thing in a round of things, like the first miracle in the round of miracles that just kept feeding this peace, you know? It was like I do remember feeling, and I don't know if I even talked about this in the documentary, but when I did find out the news when I was at rehearsal, I felt I had all the questions, all the worries, all the panic, but I also felt this bubble of peace around me. Like I truly, and like I don't feel those things that often. I don't hear big booming voice of God that often. And so when I do have those really like tangible moments, like it's very real to me. And so I had this bubble of peace. I was definitely like chaotic inside of it, but I knew like there was something holding me. I knew God was holding me. So it was like these little things that happened along the way would just fill that bubble, and like give me more cushion. Um and so my mom, so yes, I called my mom and I was pretty upset, just kind of thinking way too far down the road about all the possibilities. And I just told her, I was like, we got a blood test. There's a very, very high chance that this baby's going to have Down syndrome. And I'm crying and I'm crying. And I just hear her go, okay, what's the problem? And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. And it was just another one of those unlearnings, it's like this like unraveling process. And my mom, which we did talk about in the documentary, she used to work with kids with Down syndrome when she was younger. And I remember her talking about it here and there. And um I remember her telling me that she named me after one of the little girls that she worked with, Rachel. So I've always known that, and I never really thought much of it. I never really like, I didn't grow up with kids with Down syndrome. I didn't know a lot of kids, just a couple people maybe that worked at the YMCA. There was one kid at our school that wasn't my age that I didn't interact with much. So I just had no context. I had no experience. And so when that all, when that phone call happened, it was just like I remembered like this is all no surprise,
Mhm.
God, and to maybe my mom. Because there was that 1% chance, and I remember she's like, "I'm gonna be really mad if he doesn't."
She said that?
Oh, yeah, totally. She's like, "I'm ready. I'm ready for my guy."
I love that, like, that level of support. That's a thread I've seen throughout your story that we're gonna talk more about, is just the level of support you're surrounded by, and I love that, you know, the doctors were giving their version of support on a phone call. You can talk with someone who can help you explore your options, and then your first phone call was the option. What's the
Yeah,
problem?
right. Yes.
And, I another thing that you mentioned, and I think you had just said this, that growing up, you had been around some kids that had Down syndrome, but you mentioned in the documentary that you didn't really see your peers with Down
Yeah,
syndrome. What
right.
did you mean by that, and how has your perspective changed?
Yeah, I think I remember I was always self-conscious that I wouldn't be able to understand what they were saying, or I wouldn't be able to relate, or I wouldn't know how to act. And so I didn't take the time to like sit and wonder and get to know um anyone in my path that had Down syndrome. And so in my mind I kind of just thought, okay, well, they are the joyful happy ones, and they're always happy, and always there to just be that light and that the one that hugs everyone. And that was where it kind of ended for me, in my mind. And obviously, it was like I had to like face a lot of that, like that guilt, for feeling like that. When I knew Leo was coming along, I'm like, okay, I know that this is a human being. This is my son, that is gonna love certain things, hate certain things, be picky about food, have dreams for his future, love sports, love music, who knows, and I just kind of had to like really come to terms with the fact that I didn't take the time to do that, that Down syndrome wasn't spoken about as much as I want it to be spoken about now, you know? Um, I want people to know that there's a lot to know there, even if the words aren't there, or they come later in life, or they express them in different ways. I I just want, that was just one of those things, was just like, I need people to know that there's a lot here to know, and a lot that is worthy to be known. And um so yeah, another one of those moments.
And we're gonna link up to that documentary, of course, in the show notes because 'cause we're talking about it this whole time, and that's really the goal of the 2 gentlemen who started this project, is
Yeah.
they just wanna raise the awareness, the understanding, the humanity, the advocacy that you just spoke about through these incredible short films. And so one of the next parts that happens in yours after you call your mom and she gives her incredible heaven-filled response,
Yeah.
is your husband's response.
Yeah. He yeah, he has just from the beginning, it was almost like when I told him, he was like, "Yes." It was basically that. There was just not a flinch. Like, he just was like, "Yeah, I think that's what he said in the documentary. He was like, "Yeah, that seems right." Um, and yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like, how powerful, peace becomes. When someone else, even if I didn't have it, when someone else had it, it was, like, so contagious, and so, um, needed and necessary, and makes you think about how easy it is to spread peace, and if you are peaceful, and you have, um that certainty that we are taken care of, and we are covered, and we are loved, um and yeah, so my husband was just, I think at one point in the documentary, I can't remember the order of everything, but um he was like, yeah, we're the perfect parents for this.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna ask you, he said there are no 2 better people to be a mom and a dad for this.
yeah, and I was like,
What
wow.
does he mean by that?
Well, I'll let you know that my husband is a therapist, which is like, thank God, thank God.
Mhm.
Um, he is just keeping us together, keeping this family unit together. Uh, but I think what because for me, I couldn't not even dare say something like that. I'm like, what? Like, I am. What are you talking about? But he's done all this work, and all this deep finding of himself and of God, and he is able to say that, and I'm like, man, if there's ever something that I could lean into, if there's ever something, because I think in general, I have, growing up and doing music from an really early age, I had a strange relationship with humility. Like, I just was like really always very hyper aware of being humble, 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 be humble. I mean, to the point where it's like, be smaller, shrink, 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 shrink. And I've obviously gone, to therapy for that, because that's not the point either. And so, that's one of those things where it's like, yes, like, let's stand in this, and there are no two better people, because we are Leo's parents, and
Mhm.
so we are chosen for this. We are surrounded, and I think this is also what he was referring to, is that we are so surrounded by community. It's and family. Like, I have 4 siblings here in Nashville. My mom just moved here. There are 9 grandkids, mostly boys, all boys but 1 girl, among us. And then we have an amazing community small group that has been there the whole time. I mean, sat in a circle probably a day or 2 after we got that test, and just cried and prayed. And so yeah, I think that's probably more what he was referring to in the moment, but I think he would also own the fact that he feels like we are the right people for this,
Yeah.
and um yeah, so both.
Mom, side note, did you turn the monitor back on since that's not a problem? Let's
Didn't
make
because
sure we've got our monitor on this guy.
This kid is a good sleeper.
Okay, I know. I just
Yeah, you're
I'm
so
like,
you're
my
so
mom brain was like,
like,
"Where's the
"What?"
monitor?"
I know, right? And lately, like, little mom tidbit, lately, he's been sticking his leg through
Mhm.
the
The
crib,
slat.
and I
Yeah.
swear he's doing it on purpose. So, I'm like but then it, like, actually hurts him, so then I'm like, "Oh gosh."
Yeah, let's
So
keep
we've
our
got
eyes on him.
it's
If we're
back on,
talking
it's
about
back.
him, we're gonna keep our eyes on him. Um Okay, so, you talked about the community that carries you through. So 2 of those people are Andrew Ripp and Ethan Hulse. You write a
Yeah.
lot of songs with them. You
Mhm.
guys wrote a song together called Superpowers
Yeah.
about Leo, and I wanna share some of your own lines back to you and have you share a little bit about it. The beginning of the song, you I think you looked down at him and you thought, "Well, there's nothing down about you."
Yeah, yeah. So I that line was the first line of that I thought of when I thought of writing this song. I was on a writer's retreat with a bunch of girls actually, and I remember sitting right next to Ellie Holcomb. And if you're sitting next to Ellie Holcomb, you're inspired. Like she is, she is just light and life and joy, and you're just like, yeah, that. And so we're sitting there, and I had just had Leo. He was in his car seat. We were out in like in the a clearing. It's actually Amy Grant's farm.
Mm,
And
yep.
there's a little clearing and then there's trees all around and I'm rocking him with my foot, in his little car seat. And I'm just looking up at him or looking up at the trees and then looking down at him and I'm like and I just thought there's nothing down about you. There's literally like he is just some people call it up syndrome. Some people call it the syndrome of up. And I'm like, yep, that's really it. So I don't know. I think just in that moment I was just like I clocked that line and then I was like, I'm gonna bring that to Andrew and Ethan. And so I told Andrew and he's like, we are writing that song. Let's go write that song. And
Yep.
yeah, so that was
Another
the
line that jumps out is, "Whatever they said was wrong about you couldn't have been more wrong about you."
yeah, yeah, that's there's just a laundry list. Like even to this day, if you Google Down syndrome, especially like baby with Down syndrome, it gives you all the things that could go wrong, you know? And I just want to like flood that Google search with all the things that are right, and all the ways that even some of those flaws um are actually the total opposite. There's a traditionally a delay in speech, and in walking and all of that. But man, the other ways that he has chosen to communicate and connect without even having to use words, the way that we get to hold him longer and keep it slow and keep it sweet for longer. I'm kinda loving it, and I have no fear or doubt that he is going to do that all in his own time, and, so yeah, yeah, that was one of those lines where it's like, there's there's always the tendency to think about the the ways in which things can go wrong, and there's so many more positives.
How beautiful is that antidote? I want that. I want that to pop up first on any Google search from any person that just received the same phone call that you did, and maybe
Yeah,
they don't have a mom that would answer the same way as yours. Maybe they
yeah,
don't have a husband that would instantly be on board.
mhm.
And so I want that hope and that light to be the first thing that someone sees when they type it in. How do we make that happen?
I know, right? How do we all just, like, go wild on on Google? There's a lot of people mobilizing right now, and so I do think it's, better than it's ever been. There's a lot more positive than there has been. There's a lot more options, there's a lot more empowerment, there's a lot more representation than there's ever been, but, we still have, yeah, a long way to go, so let's keep it going.
I really wanna know more about the line that says, "Your smile lights up my whole sky. I think you saved my life."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I yeah, every time I sing that line, like, I'm tearing up right now. Every time I sing that line, it gets me. And actually there's another line in between there. So, "Your smile lights up my whole sky." And then, like, the first 2 lines of the bridge say, "Your deepest ocean eyes," which he has these awesome blue eyes. But the third and fourth line say your holy brushfield eyes, and brushfield is a medical not condition, but a medical thing. I don't know. A what do you call it? A characteristic that happens with kids with Down syndrome in their eyes. They get these white lines in them, and they look like and the I think the doctor that discovered them, his name was Dr. Brushfield, but it almost sounds like a field to me, a field of brush or something. But honestly, it's like almost like a ring. Of like white light. And it's just like, of course, there's like these, beautiful, this beautiful depth in their eyes. Um, but yes, when we're writing about superpowers and we're writing about all the ways that these things that people might say are setbacks are actually superpowers. And that, in all these semi-ordinary, semi-unseen ways, he has saved my life. And everyone in my family would say the same. It's just like, um, he has just flipped it. He hasn't flipped it upside down, but he has flipped all the windows open, all the doors open, turned on all the lights, and really, 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 really changed us. Yeah.
One specific way that has fascinated me, this was one of the things that I had to talk to you about. Your husband brought it up, and it's that, um, whenever you guys are at some, like, birthday party or there's small talk and there Leo will reach for people, and not just reach, but, like, lean like, basically, like, fall out of your arms and propel himself into seemingly a stranger's arms. Your
Yeah.
husband says it's usually, like, kind of big, burly guys, and
Yes.
how your husband's like, "I don't know what that's about," but so then there'll be, like, this 6'3" guy
Yep.
holding Leo because Leo has chosen him, so to speak, and all Leo wants to do is, like, find his eyes and look at him, and your husband says time after time, he watches in awe as that man's heart thaws.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? My husband's really good at talking.
But you've
He does
witnessed this
so
too,
well.
you've witnessed this.
Yes. Yes, it is. It truly, like, anybody that you come across that knows him will say the same thing. Like, he just, like he, like, leaps into your arms, and it's usually the tallest, most burly, most tattooed guy in the room. But sometimes it's not. But he does this thing where, like, if you're looking off, like, he finds you, he finds your eyes, and he, like, just holds you there, and he just, like, you just melt. Like, it really, I don't even know. And there's just this full acceptance, this full, like, non-judgment. And of course, he's a baby, like, but there is just this other thing going on that just feels like he would choose you over and over and over again, and he would see light in you over and over and over again. And I've read a lot about, like, why do people say that people with Down syndrome are happy all the time, and how, and because sometimes that's offensive, and I'm trying to figure out, why Leo is happy so much of the time and is so joyful and so full of joy. And there was one explanation, and I didn't look deep enough into it to, like, be able to give you, like, stats and scientific, all that. But one was that there is a tendency to skip over the part of their thinking that judges. There's no judgment, apparently, and I think that that goes in all directions. I think outwardly, just no judgment. There's just not that time wasted in judging whether someone is a certain way. And I think also there's it goes inward too, and I think that we'll see that later in life, um, just not getting so caught up on judging ourselves, and so I'm excited to see that part of him. But there is just this overwhelming sense of just, like, no judgment, just full acceptance, full love. It's wild. It's the best.
Wow.
Mhm.
I wanna talk a little bit how old is Jackson? That's his
9.
name, right?
Yep,
Jackson?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, he just turned 9.
Okay, how have you watched Jackson change? Not just through becoming, a big brother,
Yeah.
because he was an only child, but, a big brother to Leo specifically.
Yeah. It's so cool because he doesn't even know yet how much this is, uh, I think, softening him. I think he immediately was Leo's security guard, like, right off the bat. We didn't explain Down syndrome until I think Leo was maybe 1. We didn't explain that to Jackson yet, because we wanted him to see his brother first, and Jax was still, 6-ish, 7-ish, and we just wanted to make sure that he knew Leo is his brother. He's a person. He's not a diagnosis, and I think every family has to kind of figure out what that timing is and what that looks like for them, and that felt right for us. Um, so he just was like, but immediately he was just like, protect, protect, protect. Like, you'll see, this sweet 9-year-old just like find every sharp corner in the room and go stand in front of it, you know, or put his hand on the edge of the table, and just he doesn't even know he's doing it. And so there's all these little ways that like he doesn't even know what is rising up inside of him. But like even I'm so weepy. I think because it's Leo's birthday today. Um, but like Jax in his little interview in the documentary, I was like, "What did you say? What did you say?" He's like, "I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you." He's like, "You're gonna cry though." I was like, "Oh, great." But hearing him say like I can't even get through it. Hearing him say like when they asked him, what do you hope for Leo or something, and they said that he said so that people would not make fun of him. You know, I think Jax has become so soft to anybody more vulnerable or pushed aside or misunderstood. He feels that really, really deeply. There's a couple kids in his class, even like on his soccer team, sometimes he's like, I feel bad for certain people that don't get to play as much as me, and, things like that. And I can just see this like softness towards um, vulnerability, and so I think he knows it. I think he knows it a little bit, and he definitely has, turning 3rd grade. Like, that's when you start kind of like turning a lot of lights on and being like, "Oh, okay, this is what's going on." And I think he's really starting to wake up a lot to that part. And so I can see a little a little advocate, rising in him too, and I can see him, speaking up where maybe he wouldn't have thought to or cared about speaking up, and so I'm really, really excited to see that kinda come out in him.
I love this. I love it so much.
I'm sorry, I am so teary-eyed today. Woo.
I mean, you're a family of noticers. All
Yeah.
of you. To be a songwriter, you notice things. Your husband, as a therapist,
Mhm.
notices things. Your son now, and Leo
Yeah.
notices people in a way that we probably won't even understand this side of heaven. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, big feelings come with being a family of noticers, but
Whew.
your noticing and your family's articulating, I think is gonna heal a lot of people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, well, we're gonna link up to everything. I love how we just described this documentary. We probably lost so many people on this episode that have given up on
I
us
know,
and just
I know,
gone to
right?
watch it.
Yes, yes, right? Like, just make sure you come back, Like, go watch it too.
Or don't, just watch it, be moved, be moved.
Oh, no, but I do love your questions because there were a couple times where I was like, "Mom, Mom, say more. Brendan, say more. Rachel, say more." So I love talking about it further. I haven't really gotten a chance to do that. So
Oh, I'm so
I'm
glad,
glad
I'm so
I'm glad you
glad.
will.
Well, is there anything else that you want to say as we wrap it up, as you watched the final piece, or did you learn something about your mom or your husband or your son or yourself when you watched it, or just God's bigger plan? That was how it ends. Spoiler alert, the documentary ends with, I think this is so much bigger
Yeah.
than this. What
Yeah.
do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think and I say this to families with people with Down syndrome in them. I say this to people maybe with family members with autism or with anything that makes you feel misunderstood or othered. That there's so much to know there. There's so much life and story and importance. Um, and I think it's the thing, that I missed out on when I was younger, is lean into those people, and make some eye contact and make some heart contact. And I think again, like now more than ever, we have to like start mobilizing and showing up, for each other and being um curious and loving and yeah, I say that that's kind of that's the thing that Jesus was so good at, is that one-on-one, like seeing, um noticing, as you said, um and it's the thing that the enemy hates, is that one-on-one connection. And so I think it's that sweet spot of like heaven coming down, and um and it's the purpose of this like family of God, is to like claim each other as brothers and sisters and family. And that's a great way to do it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Passion Meets Purpose podcast. Thank you to Josh Model, our show producer. Thank you to Lana Vegas, our scheduler and our guest coordinator. These episodes would not happen if it wasn't for them. And I would welcome it if you would take a moment to rate and review the podcast. It helps others to find it. Plus, it just makes the show better. And one of my favorite things is to hear from you on who would you like to be featured as a guest on this show. So you can connect with us at purposely.com. Thank you.